Okay. So as promised, we are uploading more regularly, and we thought that we would make a video going through some of the questions that you guys asked. Some of them are going to be more, make some videos dedicated to things like gear and post-trail thoughts, because I feel like those topics kind of warrant more specific attention, right? So I know a lot of you want to hear about the camper. Okay, I guess we were looking at the camper idea as a way of trying to have some adventure even when we got off the trail and home from our 10,000 mile expedition across the country. And to be honest with you, we have been pretty busy since we got home, so we haven't taken it out yet, unfortunately. But we started out looking at what, like pop-ups, right?
Well, first we were looking at teardrops, like something really small, just kind of a place to sleep. And like, yeah, you can cook, there's a cooler kind of thing in it, but just very simple. And from that we kind of moved on to a pop-up.
Well, we had found,
which we were looking pretty good for pop-ups.
We'd found this one,
and then like,
new model of a teardrop, but it was legitimately room for 2 people to sleep in a bed.
It's like a bed on wheels.
Nothing else.
That's it.
So we quickly moved on from that idea, and I'm glad that we did, in hindsight. I forget the name of that thing we were looking at, but
I don't know.
So then we were looking at pop-ups because you can find a lot of them used, but then of course the issue became, well, what if it leaks? And then a lot of people, we were reading a lot of reviews and watching a lot of videos about people who said that, like, just
you grow out of them way too quick.
Skip over it. Don't even waste the time.
It's like everybody that goes from a tent goes to a pop-up, and then right from there they always go straight to an RV. And so we were looking at very short travel trailers, and we kind of ran into some vintage ones, and they were kind of right up our alley.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about vintage travel trailers at all. We were really trying to find one as far out west as we could, honestly, because of the issues with rust. If you were, like, if you're from the East Coast or even places in the Midwest where we ended up getting it from, just like the humidity and the rain makes everything rust so badly. In fact, one of the things that Jay constantly noticed, and I noticed too, is when we hit probably like western Colorado, and from there on out, the amount of just awesome older cars and pickup trucks that you would see, they were all over the place. Like vintage.
And all those trucks, and they would be rust buckets.
Oh, well, yeah, by us.
That's why
forget it.
Nobody drives them.
They were just in immaculate condition. And I remember a couple years ago, Jay has a thing for Camaros. And
I used to have a mullet.
I love you. But anyway, so yeah, so he went through a couple of Camaros, and whenever I would join along for the ride to some mysterious, shady Craigslist listing, the thing was always covered in rust. And it'd be funny because the listing would be like, spotless, not a drop of rust on her. Mint condition. And you go there and you can put a hammer through the thing. It's like,
put your fist through the floor.
Okay, this comes from jldoctor.com. I don't know. Am I reading that right? The username? From Michigan. John from Michigan.
jldoctor.com.
Asks, if you had to do it all over again on the AT, would you do the approach trail or would you start directly at Springer?
I don't know why this comes up so often. People go
Yeah.
nuts about doing the approach trail or not.
Yeah, they really do.
And we did too. We went back and forth pretty much up until a couple days before we left about whether we were going to do the approach trail. Everybody says it's extremely hard and it really kicks your butt right in the beginning, and people have said that like people that do the approach trail have like less of a chance of finishing because you can get injured real quick right in the beginning.
There are a couple things I'll say about it. I think we both would do the approach trail.
Absolutely,
again.
100%. I mean, it is how many miles, and you're doing 200? Like
no, but it's not even about the miles.
It's
like,
not. It's
who
not.
cares? Want to hike an extra 8 miles, or if you, who cares? It doesn't matter. Your journey is your own.
That for the approach.
But if you don't feel like doing the approach trail, don't do it. It's really this is not
no like
this
hiker
is not
shaming
a huge deal
if you do it or not.
We would both do it again, I think, because and this is just, well, for me personally, there was something really cool about being on the approach trail and knowing that your journey was about to begin and having that day of hiking and sort of allowing your mind to think about that while you're hiking. It was really neat doing the steps. And I think the other thing I remember saying in my very first video, it felt really neat to be walking the same sort of path that so many people have walked before you. And that's not to say you're not doing that on the entire trail, because you are. But I don't know, it felt like a rite of passage, and that might sound really cliche or corny, but that's really how I felt about it. So
I mean, for me, it was definitely watching videos and reading blogs about people saying how difficult the approach trail was, and that kind of like spooked me right in the beginning. I was like, God, I don't want to go all the way here and do the approach trail and be like get hurt or like a stress fracture or something. But it's stairs, and it's it wasn't that hard. It really wasn't. We both said that as soon as we got done with it. And I was not in shape when I first started the trail, like by any stretch of the imagination. It was almost like a couch to trail for me.
yeah, but people also have to take into account like their age and
absolutely,
like
but still, I mean,
your age, and not that should scare you, but I guess our point is you have to do what you feel is right.
Yeah, you have to know your own abilities,
yeah,
and what you think you can handle. But again, I don't think it was overly difficult. Take your time. It's not a race. You don't have to finish it in a certain amount of time. So take 2 days to do it. It doesn't matter.
One thing I will say is if you are going to be through hiking, or if you've done like long distance trails, and you're watching this, you know that everything gets talked up a lot on trail. It just does.
Whatever's in front of you is always hyped up.
Yeah, it just is. Like, take it with a huge grain of salt. This is more of like a comment. Jack says, good to see you all back again. Thank you. Maybe consider starting where you left off on the AT and complete your video experience and find closure. I'll read you the comment that I wrote back. I said, our goal is to finish it in one shot, but we would have to make it work with our jobs, or there would have to be some major savings to float us for a while before we were both unemployed. Our situation compared to most people out there, I felt was pretty different because we both had unpaid leaves of absence from work. So we had jobs lined up to come back to. And I mean, that was pretty crucial in us being able to go, because just like with the, I guess you could say, phase of life we're in, we're not just freshly out of college. Like, we don't have the option of moving in with like family or anything when we come home. It was both of us going, so it's not like
we still had our house, we still have our bills.
Yeah.
It wasn't sell everything and put it in, put whatever you have in storage and go. sell your cars and everything. I mean, we still had cars, car insurance, the whole 9 yards. So
Cats.
that was all, and 3 cats. That was all waiting when we came back. So
Yeah, and that was different.
we had a hard deadline, that's for sure.
The majority of people out there I found were retired and had a spouse at home. A lot of them kind of holding down the fort. And then a lot of people were between the ages of 20, 25 and not married, not tied down with a career or anything like that. And I don't want to say that either one of us are these super crazy career driven people, because that's just personalities. But we still had responsibilities at home. So all of that being said, you know, we want to finish it in one shot. We really, really do. But I don't know when that will be. Like, I don't know if it'll be in the next year or 2 years. I really don't know. I hope it can work out.
I think it will.
I hope we can make
We
it
made
work
it work
again.
once, we can make it work again.
Yeah.
And he asked for some more fly fishing.
You'll get
there's
it.
going to be more of that.
Okay, Stan. Let's see. Stan suggested hiking in the New Paltz. Is it New Paltz? Is that how you say it?
Paltz.
New Paltz.
Yeah.
Okay. New Paltz area, the Catskills and the Adirondacks. Yeah, Adirondacks I really, really want to go to. That's probably like a solid 4 to 6 hour drive from us. For those of you who don't know, Stan has a channel called Stan the Man Hikes. We got together with him, his friend Carol, and Try about like a month or so ago. Let's see.
You should probably show them at home, the cat trying to get into the box.
Gosh, you guys, look at this animal.
There's a box, so he must be...
That's a shoebox that just came from REI today, Clarence, and I think I might need to return them. I hope he's not peeing in there.
How funny would that be?
Is he peeing? I think he might be peeing.
Claire.
Did he pee?
No, he didn't pee.
Sorry, people. This is what you get if you follow us. Okay. Where did I leave off? What was I saying?
Who knows?
Okay. Let's see here. Mary and Ed. Okay. I actually follow Mary on Instagram. She does a lot of hiking very close to where I work, actually. It's so funny when you find people that are nearby. Mary said, I know you both were very prepared for the trail. What thing did you come across that was not in your prep, something that you weren't necessarily prepared for or knew about in a regular through hike? So I'm assuming by regular through hike you mean like without the things that happened to us. Thing that we weren't prepared for.
I was not prepared to eat as many hot dogs as I ate on my through hike. Every time I stopped, I needed at least 3.
I don't know.
We did a lot of research. We did a lot of prep.
Yeah.
Gear-wise and stuff. She did... Again, she was very in shape. I was not. I definitely could have prepped more getting in shape.
Oh, I know what I could talk about that I wasn't necessarily expecting. Most people lose weight on through hikes. I did not. I gained weight. Not a lot, but I think the reason why is, and I actually, if you watch Amy and John, Amy and I would text back and forth and kind of commiserate about this. And part of me thought maybe I would drop a couple pounds, but I never expected to lose a lot, simply because I've been really active for a really long time, whether it's like marathon training or being in the gym lifting or CrossFit classes, just any number of things. And so when you're used to that and you get on trail, this is going to sound crazy, your fitness kind of goes backwards. All right. Aubrey, or Bumblebee, as we call her, says UCS stories. And when I read this, Bumblebee was part of our trail family. I was like, what the hell is she talking about? UCS. What is UCS?
Yeah, like we really had to think about it.
So I text her, and UCS stands for urgent cat hole, okay? So I think urgent cat hole is pretty self-explanatory, but I think it was Brew that came up with that, wasn't it?
I have an amazing urgent cat hole story, by the way. What? The one in... I think we were still in Georgia. This was way in the beginning. And I go... we're walking down the trail, and it had to be done. So I had to hightail it off the trail real quick. A perfect little... I had a tree, I had a bush, I was good to go. And... I start taking my pants down, and I look like right to my right, and there's a guy in camo.
Oh, that's the one you're...
Yeah, it was still in Georgia, I swear.
Oh yeah, that's near the ranger. That's like day 2 in the ranger school.
Yeah, so you go through a section where there's Army Rangers, which I don't think they're supposed to be on the trail, but they were.
I don't know.
And they're all in camo, and they're doing like a mountain exercise.
It's Ranger School.
Yeah, it's Army Ranger School. So they're being all stealthy and stuff. So I'm in the woods. I'm going to take a poop, and I see one, and I'm like, ooh, I probably shouldn't poop here. And then there's like
dozens of them.
There's like 30 of them in the woods all around me, and it was fun.
Yeah. So obviously, you all know we desperately want to finish the trail. If I say it means I'm gonna have to do it. Oh my god,
this one.
Yeah, usually these ideas are just, I get this tiny little thing in my head and I tell myself I'm nuts, but once it's in my head, I can't ignore it. I really want to get into trail running, and the goal of an ultra marathon is kind of on the table at the moment.
An ultra trail marathon.
Yeah. So stupid, honestly. I don't know why I don't know why I do these things to myself.
It is a terrible idea, but she's going to do it. Someone did ask if we can talk about what happened that night.
Yeah.
And we cannot.
So that was actually the very first question that I read. I know it's the elephant in the room, and I get it.
Yeah. Would it be possible to tell the complete story?
Like, what we can tell you is we are probably okay talking about, like, the aftermath and getting back on trail. But if you, and I hope you haven't been, but if you've never been through something like a criminal case or where it involves police, those like reports and cases don't just take like a couple months to be put together. It can take like a year or more than a year. First of all, it would be incredibly wrong of us to ever share anything when Ron's family probably doesn't even have all the details yet. We just would never do that. And the other huge piece of it is legally, if we say anything, it could seriously jeopardize a future trial. So we're going to leave it at that. But anyway, I guess we're going to call it a night here. It's like 9 o'clock for us. Time to go to bed and get ready for work. Yeah, but if you guys think of like more questions and things like that, please feel free to drop us a comment and we will do more of these. And I think the other thing that we wanted to know is if you all would be interested in a live Q&A. Try did one like a week or two ago, and she seemed to have a lot of fun with it. We can't end this video without... You guys said he was the star of the last one, so...
Now, allow me to lace these lyrical douches in your bushes. Who rock grooves and make moves with all the mommies. The back of the club, sipping my wet is where you find me. The back of the club, macking holes, my crew's behind me. Mad question asking, blunt passing, music lasting. But I just can't quit because one of these homies Biggie got to creep with, sleep with, keep the ep a secret. Why not? Why blow up my spot? Cause we both got hot. Now check it. I got more Mac than Craig and in the bed. Believe me, sweetie, I got enough to feed the needy. No need to be greedy. I got mad friends with Benzes. See notes by the layers. Truth. Jump in the rover and come over. Tell your friends jump in the GM3. I got the chronic by the tree. Throw your hands in the air if you're the truth.